Some nurses just feel like they're meant for more than just getting a nursing paycheck. You're just always thinking about what else is possible for you outside of nursing and what your life could actually look like if you designed it yourself. If any of those things sound like you, I also used to feel those things. I'm a former RN. I left about 5 years ago and got into entrepreneurship. I'm giving you 3 signs that entrepreneurship has literally been your calling. Not one day, not when you got everything figured out, but now. Even if you have no idea what type of business you would want to start, even if you have a bunch of ideas in your head, but you haven't executed on anything yet, even if nobody around you understands, tap in. Sign number 1 is that you crave a different type of lifestyle. You know that you want something different. And I'm not just talking about a different job or a different shift or a different type of nursing, but a different life. A different version of you, a different version of how you're currently showing up. So maybe you're burnt out, exhausted, overwhelmed, all the things right now, and you just want peace. When you go to work your shifts, you find yourself thinking, am I really supposed to be doing this forever? Like, it has to be a different way. I used to just feel like I did not sign up to be a part of this world, to always have to give most of my time throughout the day to what it is that I do for work, to always have to be under somebody's thumb. So you want more time, you want more freedom, you want more say over how your day actually goes, over how you feel throughout the day. I wasn't a nurse who liked to pick up overtime. Well, I don't think I ever picked up overtime as a nurse, but I remember that I used to use those days, like my days off, to recharge just so that I can do it all over again for my next shift. And that's the type of cycle that I knew that I didn't want to stay in. So if you feel that too, and you feel like you're on like this hamster wheel of a cycle, you feel like you're going through the mundane things and you're just like hitting off a checklist every day, doing the same thing, same routine, and you feel like you want some excitement, you want to tap into your creativity. I've always wanted to help people. A lot of nurses get into nursing because they want to help people. They have that compassion, they have that empathy towards others. But somewhere along the way, like, you lose that for yourself. I remember thinking that I just wanted to find a way to help other people, but to also help myself. And that's a huge reason why I got into entrepreneurship. If you've been feeling like you want to find a way to not only help other people, but to help yourself, you were built for this. Sometimes there's this underlying guilt of feeling like you're ungrateful if you want more. You know, nursing is a respectable career and a lot of people look up to you for it. And people always talk about how nursing is good money. You know, you got a guaranteed job, you got guaranteed income coming in. There's a whole bunch of things that people throw at you. But what I learned in this journey is that those are just their fears. And people project their own fears onto you. If you tell them you want to start building something outside of nursing, you want to get into entrepreneurship, the things that they would never do, they try to warn you about, or they try to protect you from. But I was thinking this morning, like, it's really not beneficial to take advice from people who either aren't where you want to be, don't have the experience of the thing that you want to experience, aren't an expert in whatever it is that you're seeking help about or guidance about, or if that person doesn't have the type of lifestyle that you want. So if you're taking advice from people who are always living in survival mode, always struggling financially, always feeling like they have to work hard, being in that constant cycle of exhaustion, stress, anxiety, why would you take advice from those people? If those people don't have the outcome that you would like, taking advice from them is just going to give you a life that is similar to their life, their limitations. If you are meant for entrepreneurship, you always feel like this pull, these ideas to do more, to have more, and to be more. And the more you try to silence that, the louder it gets. It's a feeling, it's a knowing. And that's your soul literally trying to communicate with you and wake you up. Like, we came here to do some major things. You can feel that there is a clear gap between the life that you're living and the life that you actually want. And that gap becomes harder and harder to ignore. So you always know, whether it's a quiet internal knowing within you, or if it's loud and it's literally screaming at you that it's time for you to do something else. You know that you want a different kind of lifestyle than the one that you currently have, than the one that you're currently settling for. You know that you got big dreams. You have big goals for yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. I remember talking to a friend I used to have who is a nurse, and a cousin of mine, and I was talking to them about like the dreams that I have and the goals and like the big financial goals that I have for myself and for my business. And they were just like, oh no, I don't need this, or like, I don't need that much. And I get it, like, everybody doesn't want the same type of lifestyle. But what I found is that people are working so hard for a certain status, they pretend like they don't really want the big things because they don't want to be disappointed if they don't get them. But yeah, you want a different type of lifestyle than the current one that you have. You know that you don't want this lifestyle long term. That's sign number one, which is a huge sign. The next sign is that certain questions keep coming up in your mind that you just can't shake. If you feel like you've been doing everything right, you got the degrees, you got the accolades, you checked off all the boxes, but you still don't feel happy, you still don't feel satisfied with your life, and you've been asking yourself the deeper questions, like, am I really going to do this for the rest of my life? Am I meant to retire as a nurse? Is there a different way? Are there other ways to bring in income that's at least my nursing salary or more? Who would I be if I wasn't a nurse full time? And maybe you push those questions down. So you've been thinking about these questions, but you feel like it's safer to not really face those answers. But I want to tell you something that nobody else is telling you. There's nothing wrong with asking yourself the hard questions or the deeper questions. That's how you actually get momentum going and you actually go in the direction of your life that you want to go in. A lot of people, they don't feel comfortable with asking the deeper questions or facing those truths when you do ask those questions. So these questions are allowing you to discover things about yourself that will help you really turn into the version of yourself that's been calling you forward, to really help you build something outside of nursing. A lot of people are just settling for this sense of stability that nursing provides for them when they want so much more. Secret dreams and goals that they have that they feel like are too big and people might not understand, so they just bury them down. Whether you feed the desires and you take the actions you need to take that are in alignment with those desires or not, the desires are going to stay. You know, you can still be grateful for what nursing is providing for you, but you can still want something else. I truly believe that we didn't come here to just work hard, pay bills, be stressed and anxious most of the time throughout most of the day, and then die. That's such a sad life. We came here to live out our dreams. We came here to create. We came here to help people in the ways that only we can help them. We came here to help other people transform, to help other people heal, but not to sacrifice ourselves in the process of doing that. There's so much more to you than nursing, so much more to you than this role that you've been playing that's been keeping you small, keeping you from really living out those bigger dreams that you have for yourself. Like, enough is enough. When are you going to listen to the calling? If I would have ignored the deeper questions that I had, ignored the curiosity that I had about myself, I wouldn't be where I am today, talking to you on this video. So the curiosity and the openness that I had when I was still practicing as a nurse, that led me to everything that I'm building right now. So if those questions keep coming up in the back of your head, and they might not sound like the exact questions I gave you, but if you're starting to question things, you're starting to question if this is it, that's sign number two. That's a deep sign, because that means you're awakening, you're waking up. You're like, hold up. There's more to this. There's more to me. There's more to my journey. There's more to what it is that I'm supposed to be doing and experiencing in life. So the next sign is that the idea of building something for yourself genuinely excites you. When you think about having multiple streams of income, when you think about waking up to payments, something in you lights up. When you imagine not having to be tied to somebody else's schedule, not being required to work certain days, to work certain holidays, when you think of not having to ask for permission to take time off, when you think of building that thing that allows you to make money, whether you're clocked in or not, you imagine not having to work an 8 or 10 or 12-hour stretch. It does something to you inside. It lights you up. If the idea of doing something that you genuinely enjoy, having less stress, having more peace, and having more control over what your day actually looks like. If, as I'm saying this, you start picturing things in your head and you're like, oh, that would be so nice. This is for you. This is it. Like, we're here. I felt all those things. And when you get into your entrepreneurship journey, those things only deepen. Like that fire, it only increases. You feel like this urge to just keep going and to stop at nothing because you know that you're made for more. You feel it. Having all three of these signs, this is your vision trying to get your attention. Some people are okay with just having the career, retiring at 60 something, living out the same type of days and not being able to really truly enjoy their lives until after retirement. And it's cool. If that's what they want, then that's fine. I'm not knocking anybody's lifestyle, but if you feel you weren't meant to just work and be stressed all the way until you turn 65, working at a job that you don't really want to work at, if you feel like you're not meant to give up your best years, most of your time, energy, and effort to a career, to somebody else's vision, and you want to start pouring that energy, time, and effort back into yourself, back into the generational wealth that you get to create for yourself and your family, that's vision. And that does not just go away. So it's not telling you that you got to quit your nursing job or your nursing career. I'm not telling you that. You can start building your entrepreneurship journey. You can start building those streams of income right now. And these signs are all signs that that is what you're meant to be doing. So you don't need the perfect plan. You don't need some 5-year plan. You just need to learn to see the signs, to trust the signs. You need to pay attention to the freedom that's calling your name. The fact that you want to start building something outside of nursing. The fact that you want to own something. You want to create something. You want to leave behind some type of legacy. You want to leave behind generational wealth. You want to pass on these things to the future generations to come. You don't want to pass down the survival mode and the burnout and working careers and retiring in careers just because that's what we were taught was the right thing to do. You want to lead by example so that you can teach the future generations to come that you should be living out your dreams. You should be creating the things that you feel called to create. You should be following your intuition and following that vision and those big dreams that you have for yourself. So then when those future generations come, they're gonna be like, okay, I saw my mom, my aunt, whoever, like I saw them do this and I know what's possible for me too. It's so much deeper than us. So that pull that you feel to create something, to create streams of income, side hustles, start your entrepreneurship journey, to build your business, that pull is not for nothing. It's not random. That's your direction. That's your intuition, like literally calling you, pulling you in that direction. So if the idea of building something, the idea of freedom, any of the things I talked about genuinely excite you, that's the sign number 3. This is what I want you to take from this. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't have to do everything alone or start everything from scratch. You don't need to be ready to leave nursing or to quit your nursing career. You don't even necessarily have to want to leave nursing, but you do have to be honest about what you really feel. Getting into nursing allows you to know that you want more freedom, you want more time, you want a different type of lifestyle. So if you've been asking yourself the questions that you can't stop thinking about, these questions keep coming up that we discussed earlier in the video, like who am I outside of nursing? Am I really going to do this forever? What could I build outside of nursing? What's possible for me outside of nursing? And the idea of building something for yourself, it keeps pulling you. No matter how many times you try to ignore it or stall or dismiss it, that's your calling. And it's trying to get loud enough so that you can finally hear it. Entrepreneurship doesn't start with the perfect business idea. It starts with deciding that what you feel inside is what truly matters and being willing to follow that. You know that you're meant for more than just nursing. So drop a 1, 2, or a 3 in the comments and let me know what sign hit you the hardest. And make sure you subscribe if you're a nurse who is ready to start your entrepreneurship journey without burning out. Because it's one thing to get into entrepreneurship and to build a business that's based on the hustle culture background that you come from as a nurse. And it's a whole nother thing to get into entrepreneurship and create a business that you don't look back years from now resenting because it burned you out.